that are going to be on the show. We know that we've got Raquel Rodriguez. It's stacked. It is a stacked show. Over on AEW, of course, they have got a championship match. We're going to be seeing Jon Moxley taking on Hangman Adam Page. What I will say is, and I don't think I'm alone here. I might be alone, but I don't think I'm alone. I think it hurts that it's Hangman, because for me, Hangman is responsible for, or played a part in, all the recent drama and people being suspended. Like, we now know that he went into business for himself in that kind of feud with CM Punk. We know that upset CM Punk a lot. And as a result of that, like, this is where we are now, like, with big backstage brawls and all the drama in AEW. It kind of feels like Hangman has been a bit rewarded. So not only has he been suspended, but it feels a little bit like he's been rewarded with a title opportunity. So, I don't know. I mean, look, obviously we don't get to see exactly everything that happens behind the scenes, but it is very strange that CM Punk would come out and would talk about how unprofessional Hangman Adam Page was. He would then get suspended, obviously because of the brawl. And honestly, not that long later, Hangman Adam Page is now in a title match. He's now got a title shot against Jon Moxley. Like, it just feels weird. It just feels weird. So I think if that, I don't know, maybe if that was like someone different, I'd be feeling a bit more excited for it. That, you know, it's still going to be worth a watch, absolutely. But yeah, it's just weird. It's like they're doing some weird stuff over on AEW. But over on NXT, as we said, we've got some juicy stuff tonight. We know that we're going to be seeing Kevin Owens. We know that we're going to be seeing Rhea Ripley. We know that we're going to be seeing Raquel Rodriguez. We know we're going to be seeing the OC. They're going to be here as well. It is a stacked show. Like, all the reports are that they want to basically win this head-to-head. NXT want to do better than AEW. I don't know that they will, to be honest. The only thing I would say is NXT has managed to get around 700,000 in recent weeks. AEW tends to do about 1 million. Tuesday night is NXT night, but I don't know. I think AEW will win this. I think they're too far ahead anyway. If you want to look at it as a head-to-head, then I think it will be AEW that win. But I would imagine NXT will get relatively close. As we said, a lot of big main roster stars going to be on the show tonight. I still don't understand what Hangman said that was supposed to be bad in the promos, says Kyle. Well, he was kind of implying that he was sticking up for the boys in the back, wasn't he, in that promo? You know, like, a lot of the stuff that he was saying was how CM Punk was there for himself, and, you know, whereas Hangman is there for the boys in the back, and kind of making out that CM Punk's in it for himself. That's kind of what I took from it. Whereas, you know, Hangman is part of the locker room, and he's there for the boys, there for the guys, most notably there for Colt Cabana. And that kind of sailed quite close. I think there was stuff that was said there that wasn't pre-agreed or hadn't been discussed. And so I kind of feel like there was some stuff there that just rubbed CM Punk up the wrong way. And then the other stuff was that news being leaked and things being mentioned that Colt had been moved to Ring of Honor, and the Ring of Honor roster, he'd been moved there because of CM Punk. I think that was kind of implied and hinted at to various journalists. And I think CM Punk was very much of the opinion that there was a bit of a smear campaign against him. I think he's of the opinion that there are forces within AEW that are trying to besmirch his name. And obviously he doesn't appreciate that. So I agree that it's all like really petty and really childish and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But I mean, listen, if the end result is that you're going to be without some of your biggest stars and you're having to suspend people and they might not be able to work together going forward. And now we're hearing about legal cases that are being brought. You know, this thing hasn't just blown over. It's getting worse, isn't it? Like, there's legal ramifications that we're hearing about. So, whole thing is horrific. It's a mess. It's really, really regrettable. But that's what I'm saying. It's just a bit strange. It's just a bit strange that Hangman's not been put on the back burner whilst this is kind of playing out, and that he's being used in such a prominent position. I suppose in Tony Khan's defense, if he looks at the numbers and the numbers say that Hangman is the person to go with, and the numbers say that Hangman is the, like, you know, one of the people that drives the biggest ratings, then I suppose you can understand why he would turn to him when you don't have Kenny Omega or CM Punk. And, you know, you've got other people in programs already. I suppose I can see why you would do that. But I don't know, it just feels a bit weird. Feels a bit strange. The EVPs are trying to chase Punk out, just like they did with Cody, said Travis. Jim said, from what I heard, lots of things rub Punk the wrong way. Timothy said, Hangman is a good wrestler. His temperament and a hothead. I think John is going to beat Hangman, but I wouldn't be mad if Hangman becomes new champion. Page shouldn't be rewarded for his actions, says Travis. I think we will see Gable Steveson, said Four Wheeler Kids. What, tonight? You think we see Gable Steveson? Tonight. I am obviously really excited for tonight. Tonight feels like a big deal. Normally we go into like the Tuesday shows going, well, we've got this match, got that match. Tonight feels like there's a different energy about. I think part of that is because of Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens dropped a bombshell on social media today. The way that he filmed it was really interesting. He filmed it like he was talking to someone like on FaceTime, and he was in his car, and he was like, hey, how you doing, Kevin Owens? Yep, the wrestler, yeah. I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I know. So, I've not been around, but I'm actually going to be at NXT tonight, and the way that he filmed it was like that, as if he was having a back and forth conversation with someone. It was really good, actually. And it got the point across that he'd be on NXT, why he was going to be there. The fact he loves Shawn Michaels, he'll do anything for Shawn. They want to try and control the main event, because obviously Halloween Havoc this weekend. They need someone to come in that's going to, you know, keep law and order. So that's why they've turned to former NXT champion. So yeah, it was good. I watched that, and it kind of got me pumped for tonight. As I said, I thought it was a real fun promo. Right, I've just had a look to see what the latest news is over on Fightful. I'm just going to read these because I haven't actually read them. So I'm just going to have a little look. These are from like a good few hours ago, so I'm sure they've done the rounds. But an update on Becky. Becky has been sidelined past few months. People are expecting her return. Early last month, a rumor emerged that she was ahead of schedule with her shoulder injury, but no one in WWE can confirm that that's the case. WWE hoped Becky Lynch would be able to avoid surgery. Becky was at Raw, but as of early September, we're told that they thought it would be a few months. There's no timetable. Those that we spoke to within Creative said they're hopeful Becky will be back by the end of the year, but that was more optimistic and hoping she wouldn't need any more surgery. That's interesting. So not great news for Becky Lynch there. We've got a few notes coming out of Raw, just the different producers for the different segments. Michael Hayes, P.T. Williams, Molly Holly, Jamie Noble, Jason Jordan, Adam Pearce, Sean Davari. Those are the producers for the various segments of Raw. Although Triple H was sidelined with COVID, we've heard he's doing fine. Road Dogg helped run the show, and it was mainly written by Sunday. Happy Corbin is now Baron Corbin. WWE did not keep JBL and Corbin's appearances secret. they were included internally all throughout the weekend. Duke Hudson of NXT versus Cedric Alexander was filmed for main event. Cameron Grimes against Akira Tozawa was also filmed for main event. Plans for Cameron Grimes to appear on Raw were finalized last week. We're told plans have been getting done much sooner under the current regime. That's interesting. So that about 3 hours ago, that was put up by Fightful. Just a bit of information in regards to Raw. And as we said, pretty big show tonight. Alba Fyre going to be taking on Sonya Deville, OC, Rhea Ripley. Lots and lots to get your teeth into. Ronda Rousey. Given Paul's popularity, Rousey believes they should capitalize, make him happy. I'm going to say this in the best possible way. What they need to do with Logan Paul is make sure that he loves this and has an amazing time and wants to make this his home. Showing up and getting his ass kicked by Bray Wyatt might be what a lot of people want to see, but I don't think that makes sense. If I was booking it, I would have Logan beat Roman. For whatever plethora of reasons, he's one of the biggest draws right now. You want to be able to put him over. You want to legitimize him. Roman doesn't have anyone to feud with right away. That would give Roman something to do and would actually elevate Roman to be in a back and forth with Logan. When the bloodline starts ganging up on him, if he's having a great enough time, he's going to call his brother. Even the odds, and you can have them both in. If I was booking, I would make sure Logan is having a great time with his brother and he wants his brother to join him. You put over new guys. Okay, I've done enough reading that. Ronda Rousey, heel turn. Ronda Rousey lost her flipping mind. Wrestling Daze said, what are you going as for the Halloween stream? I'm going to cosplay as Wrestling Daze. That's what I'm going to do. Got to remember, I'm a boomer. Yeah, I'm a boomer that grew up when Halloween was just not really a thing in the UK. So I don't think I ever once went trick or treat. I think I did, but I think I went with my brother as the guardian, as the kind of, all right, do we have to do this? Let's go. And so off we went to a few houses, but we didn't even go. I think we went to 5 houses, and that was about it. So yeah, it just wasn't a thing. Halloween's just not really. It's not something that's part of my life, to be honest. I'm aware it happens, and I will probably put on a Halloween movie on, a scary movie on Halloween. But other than that, there's no decoration. Never, ever in my life has decorations gone up in our house. Never. I cannot think of any year that we have had Halloween decorations up in our house. So, but it's a thing that is on the rise here in the UK. Absolutely. It has been for a good while now. And certainly if you go to the supermarkets and everything, there's rows of Halloween stuff. You can go to pound shops, rows of Halloween stuff. So, there's people that get into it and buy into it and everything. And I'm sure there was as well when I was a kid. But, man, honestly, it just was not really a massive deal at all. It's so strange how it's kind of grown. It's really strange. I'm guessing the older you are, Halloween has always been a thing. I'm not saying it's like the US, a bit of trick-or-treating paid for cider. A bit of trick-or-treating paid... I don't even understand what you're saying. It's always been a thing in the sense of... I've always been aware that it's the scary time of year. But, I mean, I can tell you that none of my friends did anything for it because several of them lived in the same street when I was young. So none of them did anything for it. No one was trick-or-treating around my area. I never went trick-or-treating. We never decorated the house. Never did dressing up. My cousins who lived in a different part of the UK didn't do anything for it either. Never got told of them doing anything, was never aware of them doing anything, it was never brought up in conversation when we met up. That's my youth with Halloween. I'm aware that it's spooky season and, there's graphics in the shops and they kind of lean into it or whatever. But yeah, I mean, like, no one in my street, in my town, in my family ever did anything for it. Bunkers said, the only Halloween thing I'm going to do is watch Halloween Havoc. Miguel said, who cares about Halloween? It's good because you get candy. Hang on, I need to reread that. Who cares about Halloween? Because it's not good. You just get candy. Okay, I knew I'd read it wrong. Miguel, shout out to you. Hasib said, do you know that chap MJF has like Money in the Bank, or does he choose when he gets... Do you know the chip MJF has? Yeah, I don't... It's not like Money in the Bank, so you can't just cash it in randomly at any moment. I mean, I feel like what you do with it is you cash it in and then a match is made. So it's kind of like if you was to cash in Money in the Bank, but you had to tell them when it's going to be. We've never seen anyone running down with the chip cashing in mid-match. Like, that's not a thing. And actually, I don't know if they can do that, because that might be something that WWE have got trademarked and copyrighted. You know, like how they're not allowed to do a Royal Rumble. So the closest they can get to a Royal Rumble is a Casino Battle Royal, which has got just enough differences to allow them to do it. So, you know, you've got, it's based on cards, isn't it? Clubs, hearts, queens, all of that kind of stuff. And then they come down as a group, and it's done kind of that way. And then at the end, you've got the Joker. So it's it's like the Rumble, but it's not really the Rumble. Just like the Casino Battle Royal is or ladder matches like Money in the Bank, but it's not really Money in the Bank. So yeah, I think it's like that. I think you can cash it in and say when you want it. That's my reading of it. But feel free to let me know if I'm off on that. Ron, shout out to you, dude. Appreciate the support. Ron said, do you think the masked one on the Titantron will turn Bray evil? I think the masked one on the Titantron is Bray. That's where my head's at the moment. I think that will turn out to be Bray. I could be wrong, but I think that we could be going down a split personality. We already saw that with Funhouse and Fiend, and so it makes sense that we see it with this, or, it could mean that we see it again with this, where we've got Wyndham and we've got Uncle Howdy, if that is his name. So yeah, I'm leaning that way. The thing is, you see, it's just so much of a coincidence that Bray returns and some mystery person who is like interrupting the show, like a new enemy for Bray, like that they have arrived at the same time as well. Like, I don't know, it just seems really weird. Like, no one really knew that Bray, or didn't know for certain if Bray was coming until White Rabbit started. And don't forget as well, White Rabbit had some clues in it that was like, Come With Me was in there. I remember that being in there. Come With Me. And that was said by the Uncle Howdy mask person. So I'd have to sit down and have a look. But I've got a feeling that a couple of things that Uncle Howdy has done or said, you can find connections to in the White Rabbit campaign. Now, we know that White Rabbit campaign was to bring Bray back. So I have to think that this person is not just a completely separate, completely unconnected Bray's back and, oh, look at this. There's a new enemy for him to face at the exact same time. I feel like there's a connection there. And that connection could be that they are both Bray, and that's why they've both arrived at the same time. Because otherwise it's weird, isn't it? Bray comes back, but his segments are being interrupted by someone who, I don't know, turns out to be Bo Dallas. Like, it's clearly connected in some way, and I think one of those obvious connections is that it could all just be Bray. So, yeah, I mean, look, we're obviously very interested to see where it goes. Very interested. Do I think he's going to turn Bray evil? Well, I think it's probably going to turn out to be that is Bray, and he does have a side of him that's a bit more out of control, if you will. I wonder if we will ever find out who that person is, Uncle Howdy is. We might never need to actually find out. We might never need a reveal as to who's behind that mask, who's interrupting the show. Like, that's an interesting idea. What if that is it? What if that person is that person and that is it? And they can control Bray and they can threaten his family, or, you know. Do I think they'll turn him evil? I think that they are going to want to control him, and seemingly the way they're interrupting him, and seemingly the way that they have said you're going to breathe your last breath, your life is over. I mean, they certainly don't seem like great people. It doesn't seem like a great person. So, I don't know. It's very difficult, isn't it? It is very, very difficult to say which way this is going to go. I mean, I don't think anyone wants to boo Bray. So, a heel Bray feels like maybe not the right direction to go. But that's not the direction I would personally head in. I wouldn't go towards a heel Bray. But this definitely feels like it's going to try and control him. And it's definitely going to try and point him in that direction. So, yeah, I'm really interested to see how it plays out. It's a great question, that is, Ron. It's a great question, because I would say that's what a lot of people are wondering at the moment is, where are we going with this? Where are we heading with this? What is this person doing to Bray? And is it Bray? So, yeah, good question. Really appreciate the support, Ron. Shout out to you, dudes. We got Human Gaming as well. Human Gaming, should have put a message. Don't super chat again. Just put a little message on screen, dudes. I'll read what you have got to say. Let's try and get into these comments. I don't personally agree or like Kenny, but this brand of sports entertainment was new and still is. Go fast, go hard. Worry about the consequences to your body afterwards, says William. Esteban said it's NBA opening night tonight. Both shows are going to take a hit. Cross said, sorry if you answered this. No worries. You happen to see the lyrics for Wyatt's song, possibly a reference to Bo. I don't read into him that deep. So I did see the lyrics, but I'm not really someone that goes that deep. We had a big conversation about this last night, I think during Raw. I think it was at some point during Raw. I think that he wants a song that's really uplifting, that's done by Code Orange. And, you know, maybe there's a few little lines in there that resonate. But I don't know that a whole song is going to necessarily be, because I believe it was a song that already existed. I don't think this is a new piece that has been created just for him. If it was, then I would be like, yeah, this could be interesting. If he's had a new piece of work created just for him, then you've got to think the lyrical content probably does mean quite a bit. But if it's an existing piece already, then I think that, you know, he may have gone to it because of the feel of the song. It had like a real positivity to it. It's very uplifting. I think that would have that fitted very well with, you know, what he wanted to be presented as. And lyrically, I would imagine there might be a few things in there that you can definitely take out. But I think I've sort of learned a bit of a lesson, if you will, from the images. So we were going super deep into all the images that were being shown during Bray's segment. And now we've come to learn and realize a lot of those images are just recycled. A lot of those images are just things that are taken from the past. So, yeah, there could still be some meaning to them. But equally, they might just be images that kind of connect us back to, like, the Wyatt family. So I spent so much time looking at those images, really trying to figure stuff out, coming up with different theories, different thoughts. 99.9% of those theories and thoughts never made it into any videos, because you look at them and you like do a bit of research and you go down little rabbit holes. So then to like see that these things are images from the past, like the eye, people were looking at that going, is that Liv Morgan's eye? Like, and you're looking at it and you're comparing it to her eyes. I had people sending me pictures of Liv's eye and the eye that was thingy, and they were saying it's the same. Look at the color of the eyes, and you just kind of, you can go and get sucked into, you can go as far as you want. You can go into as deep as this as you want. But I think, like, have a look at the lyrics. If you think that they fit and you think there's, potentially something there, great. Come up with the theory, put it out there, put it on social media. People will engage with it, and there could be some truth to it. It could absolutely be connected, but I'm more leaning towards brushstrokes, big wide brushstrokes. I'm leaning towards it maybe not quite being as deep as some of us have been going, basically, just because I think there's so much stuff they've got to do. There's so much stuff that, they need to create QR codes. They need to be sorting out backstage moments. I mean, like his first match, they know the opponent. When's it going to happen? They know the move set. What's his ring gear going to look like? I could sit here and go down a list of about at least 100 different things that he has got to be thinking about, having conversations about, tweaking, easily 100 different things that he has got to have planned. So with that amount of workload, how deep can you actually go? Do you know what I mean? Like, how deep into this can you go? So you're right to look at it. You're right to look at it. You're right to question it. You're right to, go into it as deep as you want to go. That's the whole fun of it, isn't it? Like, to be exploring and everything. But I think for me, what I've learned since White Rabbit started is that the big kind of things, they tend to be the most important ones. You can go deeper down than that if you want to, and you can find connections. I don't know if you'll ever really know if they are on purpose or if they're just circumstantial. I don't know if we'll ever quite get answers on that. So I don't know. If you was to make a connection, I don't know if you'll ever have it proven right or wrong, to be honest. So, but yeah, if you've got a theory, put it out there. I love reading all of that stuff. I did read through the lyrics, and yeah, if people have got theories, send them over. If you was a wrestler, what would be your finisher, says Nathan. I'd have something real basic, but I'm really not a big fan of all these big elaborate finishing moves, because, to be honest, half of them I don't think really look that great. I think, like, I saw a load of criticism. I think, was it Bayley won with a superplex or something? And I saw people, there was a tweet that got a lot of people laughing at this person put a message out saying, "Oh my God, they just won with a suplex. What is this?" And people were like, "Tell me you're new to wrestling without telling me you're new to wrestling." Jake the Snake Roberts used to win with the DDT. Hulk Hogan used to win with a leg drop. Ivan Koloff, I believe, had the bear hug, and there was like so many like basic moves that people used to win matches with. Kind of modern wrestling fans think you have to do this kind of really elaborate thing, and you just don't. You don't, basically. I think if you can execute a move really well and it looks great, I think you can get that over. Look at Bobby with a full Nelson. Bobby Lashley's finishing move is a full Nelson. He calls it the Hurt Lock, but it's a full Nelson. And, I think that's been great. As I said, if you've got the ability to do a wrestling move and make it look really good, really, really good, and whenever people see it, they go, "Damn, that's nice. That's nice." They do that really well. I think you can. I think you could potentially use it as a finisher. Maybe a drop kick would be tricky, unless you upped it and did like some sort of put them off the ropes and then drop kicked them into the corner. So it's not just a drop kick; you're actually drop kicking them into something. Maybe you could do that. So against the ropes, the momentum, they come back. You go into a drop kick, but you shoot them into the corner. They then go flying, crash into the corner, crash down, and you just keep getting like a 1, 2, 3 off that. Maybe that's a way that a drop kick could become a finisher. But to be honest, I'm a big fan of just keeping things simple. I think as long as you can do the move really, really well, as long as you can like hit the move really well, and it looks great, when you execute it. Like, go with that. Just go with that. You do not need all these triple 450 splashes and all this kind of stuff. I've said before, nothing annoys... Well, there's plenty that annoys me, but one of the things I find frustrating is when you're mid-match and someone hits a reverse Rana and people kick out of them. I cannot get my head around it. I think the reverse Rana is one of the most devastating moves I have ever seen. You are getting dumped on your head. Like, you are being driven on your head. But not only are you being driven, like, forwards, like a DDT, you're actually being whipped backwards. So you don't even see it coming. You're standing there, and then all of a sudden you are going backwards and then spiked on top of your head. Like, that could break your neck. It could shatter your spine. It's devastating. I mean, I believe it's banned in WWE, but we see it in AEW, and it's not a finishing move. It's just part of a match. The match just continues. Like, I cannot get my head around it. How a reverse Rana is not a finishing move. It's crazy to me. It's crazy. So, because if that was executed correctly, I've got to think you're knocking the vast majority of people out. They are being dumped on their heads. In fact, not only knocking them out, serious spinal injury, right? Serious injuries as a result of that move. Not a 2 count. Not a 2 count. So, yeah, I'm a big believer in keeping things simple because I think if you try and do like really elaborate stuff, then there's a chance it's not always gonna like come off, and it's not always gonna look good unless you've got it nailed. If you can do it, brilliant. But I think if don't undersell the other moves. That's a bit of a frustration in modern wrestling. Right, let's go down. I want to try and get through these. It's not banned. It is restricted. Candice used it on NXT last year, says flipping Eric. Chris said, why is AEW Dynamite going head-to-head with NXT tonight? I believe is it baseball? Basketball tonight? Is it baseball tomorrow? I'm under the impression it's baseball. Could be basketball tomorrow as well. But it's some kind of sport. Corey said, do you think the Bray gimmick is like Jekyll and Hyde, 2 faces of Batman? I'm leaning that way, yes. I'm leaning that way. Lee said, Rock and Roll Express, they used a double dropkick. Good shout. Hasib said, NXT has just tweeted that Chucky is on tonight. Well, that's going to bring in the masses. So, cool. Trini said, I'm going to need Tony Khan to pick a side. You're either pro wrestling or you're a forward-thinking businessman. Being both ends up in him confusing the product. And that was better in its raw form, says Trini. Trini, shout out to you. Brenton said, sorry I'm late, I'm just listening to the baseball game. I heard that Jay White might be on Dynamite tonight to counter the other Bullet Club members on NXT. That would be an interesting move. Who's invading NXT? Well, the main roster's invading in a sense. They are all over the show. So we've got Sonya Deville on the show tonight. We've got Kevin Owens on the show tonight. We've got the OC, Gallows and Anderson. They are on the show tonight. We have got Rhea Ripley. She is on the show tonight. We have got Raquel Rodriguez. She is on the show tonight. So a good chunk of this show is going to be taken up with main roster talent. Main roster superstars are going to be all over tonight. This has got a big feel to it. This is obviously the go home for Halloween Havoc, but it's stacked. Like, this could be a card in its own right. Roxanne Perez against Rhea Ripley is a fire match. Raquel Rodriguez against Cora Jade. We have seen it before, but now that Cora Jade's a little bit more established and, dare I say, better as a heel, and Raquel Rodriguez is a bit more established on the main roster, it feels bigger. Gallows and Anderson only just came back to WWE, and now they find themselves in NXT helping out Cameron Grimes. So, like, that feels pretty big. Sonya Deville made a big splash last week. She was in the crowds. So we're going to be getting her against Alba Fyre. And so Alba Fyre obviously has been tormenting Mandy Rose. So it's probably a good chance we see Mandy tonight, actually. But yeah, she's going to be on the show as well. So it's a stacked offer. And we've just found out about Chucky. So Chucky is going to be on the show as well. So what a time to be alive. NXT flying the flag for Tuesday nights. Watching Sammy and CM Punk at his current age try to do a GTS as a finisher looks bad. They can't do it on the larger guys, and obviously often don't connect with the smaller dudes. Yeah, there's a few bits that I see that don't really grab me. I don't know. It's modern wrestling, isn't it? There's great things and there's some bad things. And you know, everyone's got their own taste, but yeah, I do wish that we saw less big moves that just didn't have like much of an effect. It is just like a lot of matches just seem to be like, let's do every move we know, and you know, one of them at some point will result in the finish, because it's just so many big spots and big moments and big moves. And I think, like, for me personally, if we slowed it down a little bit and kind of built up, and then just had, like, you know, you built up to a killer, like, move, great moment, and, you know, maybe that's not the finish, and we carry on and we go back down and we kind of work our way towards the next big move. So rather than, like, you know, 20 big moves, there's, like, I don't know, a quarter of that, 5 big moves at most, and just actually kind of, you know, build up the drama. And I always think about Kenny Omega and Okada. It was one of the biggest interesting things about their feud was, would Kenny hit the one-winged angel on Okada? So everyone was waiting for the one-winged angel, and it would be teased, and he couldn't quite get it, and then like the match would continue. And it was all about like, will he get the one-winged angel and what happens when he does? And that was so interesting, super intriguing, as to like, oh my God, what would happen if he did it? Would he get the victory over Okada? And of course, he does hit it, and we find out what happens. But that is just such basic storytelling. So interesting. It took you on a journey. You watch all these kind of moves playing out. And of course, there's a few big spots throughout the matches. I mean, the matches tended to go really long. I think a couple of them were around the hour mark. I think the other one was about half an hour. And so we're talking like good chunk of time. And so, you know, you did have like some big spots in there, but haven't seen those matches in a long time. I do not remember them being spot. I remember it being much more of a journey. I remember it being a lot more ebbs and flows. And again, you know, big mystery was what happens when he hits the one-winged angel. And the reason I'm talking about those matches is because I think still, even now, I think that's the best trilogy of matches of this generation. I'd put them above Cody and Seth, for example, which I thought was stunning this year. I think those matches from Cody and Seth has been absolutely brilliant. But I think when I think about like Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat, and I think about some of the greatest series of matches, you know, like Shawn and Undertaker, for example, at WrestleMania 25 and 26, going into Triple H at 27, 28. When you think about like a few different series of matches, Okada and Omega for me is absolutely right up there. I've got nothing but praise for them. I just thought they were brilliant. I can remember the wrestling world just buzzing about them. I mean, Meltzer's flipping rating system was breaking every time they did a new one. And to be honest, I could agree with it. I watched them and I was just in love. I just thought they were absolutely stunning as well. So yes, we could spend a bit of time on that conversation, but we've got plenty of other things to talk about. I did just see something come through from Fightful in regards to AEW. Oh, it's just the match cards. We might as well read it, actually. AEW tonight. William Regal has got an interview with Tony Schiavone. MJF is doing a promo. We've got a Renee Paquette is going to interview Bryan Danielson and Wheeler Yuta. We've got Chris Jericho taking on Dalton Castle. We've got Death Triangle taking on the Best Friends. We've got Tony Storm taking on Hikaru Shida. And we've got Jon Moxley taking on Hangman Adam Page. So, Ring of Honor World Championship, AEW World Trios Championship, AEW Interim Women's World Championship, AEW World Championship, all on the line. Plus William Regal, plus MJF, plus Renee interviewing Bryan Danielson. Pretty stacked cards. Over on NXT, we're going to have Chucky returning to NXT. We're going to have Kevin Owens. We've got Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams against Wesley and Oro Mensah. We've got Stacks taking on a mystery opponent. Now, normally I would just think that mystery opponent would be someone from NXT. A show like this, I really don't know. I really don't know who we might end up getting. That could be something. It could be nothing. It could turn out to be, I don't know, Zion Quinn or someone, right? Or it could turn out to be someone from the main roster. Rhea Ripley against Roxanne Perez. Raquel Rodriguez against Cora Jade. Cameron Grimes and the OC against the Schism. And Alba Fyre against Sonya Deville. So that's what we've got tonight on both shows. And we've got 18 minutes until we go over to those shows. Jay for Live 12 said, I think it's a shame that AEW kind of overlooks NXT tonight. It's a shame that they have a stacked card. People will still probably watch AEW. Brenton said, AEW was moved due to baseball playoffs. Houston Astros against New York Yankees. AEW could be moved one more time next week if the series goes long. That's interesting. Renee Ambrose will be on AEW tonight, said Miguel. Joe said, imagine the ring breaks during Braun against Amos. Maybe. Could do. They do tend to lean that way for when the big boys collide. Aaron said, Chucky from Ring Racks is better. Facts. And you know, I'd love to see a horror film. Imagine a Rugrats Halloween film. Have you seen the Winnie the Pooh? They've done like a Winnie the Pooh Halloween type film, scary type film. I don't know how great that film's going to be, but yeah, interesting. Apparently that story now is not like really owned by anyone. It's in the public domain. So anyone can kind of make films on it and tell stories about it. And that's why we've got this non-Disney Halloween film coming out about it. When is Amos Braun? I don't think they've announced the match yet. We're just kind of building towards it, so we might get some answers on Friday. Primo said, do you think it's desperate for NXT to be relying on main roster stars to combat AEW? No. According to Brian Alvarez, WWE doesn't want to lose tonight on their own night. I don't think it's desperate. I think that, if anything, that they have been needing this for a long, long time. NXT has got an identity crisis in the sense of it is their developmental brand. They are bringing in athletes who are not really ready, and NXT is where they learn. And, you know, when it was on the WWE network, you could kind of get away with it by, you know, having it on the network. Now it's on international television, right? It gets shown on like BT Sport 1, which is one of our major sports channels here in the UK, NXT. I'd imagine it's probably similar in other countries. It gets shown on the USA network in America, which is obviously the same network that shows Raw, which is a major network in the US. So, like, they are on major exposure, major networks. And, you know, these are people that are learning how to wrestle. They don't fully know. They don't have any experience. Don't have any indie experience. They're having to try and train and learn and cut promos for the first time. And I understand that you can say that that's the selling point. The selling point is these are the stars of tomorrow. But Triple H was very clear about saying when they moved that this was a third brand. You know, when they moved onto USA Network, you know, he said this is our third brand. And we saw NXT being used as part of Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, WrestleMania. So we saw NXT being heavily used. And, you know, look, things have changed. it's hard to know quite how it's perceived now. I think it's probably perceived as developmental again, right? But you still can't escape the exposure that it's got. You still can't escape the fact it's on USA Network, it's on BT Sport, it's being shown on these major platforms. And it's got to somehow go up against AEW. It's got to go up against Brian Danielson, who is main roster. He's got to go up against Jon Moxley, Dean Ambrose, who is main roster. You know, it's got to go up against these big stars. Jericho, who's, I mean, just a Hall of Famer that's not gone into the Hall of Fame yet. I mean, I don't see it as being desperate that they are turning to main roster stars. If anything, they needed to have done this when there was the Wednesday Night War, when they were both going head-to-head on a Wednesday, and NXT was just relying on its stars that it's got, and AEW was bringing in like Andrade and Miro and Brody Lee and Adam Cole and Danielson, and the list goes on and on and on. Tony Storm, Athena, CM Punk, blah, 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 yeah? Think of everyone they've brought in. Like, they are comparable to Raw and SmackDown. A lot of the stars they're picking up have come from Raw and SmackDown. It's just that the ratings for AEW are not at the same level as Raw and SmackDown. So people don't, I don't know how people view AEW. For me, that it's comparable to Raw and SmackDown. It's just the ratings aren't as big. So NXT is at a massive disadvantage for not having that star power. So, no, listen, they've turned and brought in some names because not only have they got the basketball to compete with, but they've also got now AEW, who have put on a stacked card, who move into a Tuesday because it works for AEW. And, you know, what are they meant to do? Just kind of roll over. Like, I don't begrudge them doing this at all. I think they should have done it more. I really do. Ron, shout out to you, dudes. Appreciate the support. Rondell said, "Do we like Nick Khan now?" I don't know if we ever didn't like Nick Khan, to be honest. I mean, like, for me personally, Nick Khan is someone that took a lot of heat. I've always blamed Vince for the releases. I never thought, I mean, like, Vince is the one that always had the final say, yeah? Vince is the one that would always... Nick Khan did not come in and go, right, you've got to cut that person, that person, that person, that person. And Vince was like, no, please, I want to keep them. No, you've got to do it. You've got to do it. That was never Nick Khan, was it? Nick Khan hasn't got that power to turn up to Vince and tell him who he's got to lose. It was always Vince that was like, at least having a conversation with it, going, right, we need to save X amount of money. And they would come together with some names and Vince would be the one that signed it off. It was always Vince that signed it all off. So, for me, Nick Khan, I mean, he is a businessman. He is cutthroat. Yeah, I don't think he necessarily thinks about the people behind the numbers. But then, you know, what businessmen do. I think that he came in. I think he saw their wage budget was way over. I think he probably did say to Vince, we need to bring this down. And then conversations were having, people lost their jobs. But I feel like the person we blame is Vince, because Vince is the one that signed and like had a load of people signed up to contracts that he couldn't maintain. He could not support that wage bill going forwards, but he signed them all so that AEW couldn't get them. I remember the conversations and talking about, wow, this is a crazy time for like wrestlers. You know, they can ask for whatever they want because AEW are sniffing around. And if their contract is now available, well, all of a sudden, give me what I want, or I can go over to AEW. Like, that's a conversation that can be had now. And as a result, you know, they were getting crazy terms, crazy deals that was not sustainable. There was no way you was going to be able to lock everyone down at those kind of terms and it not have repercussions down the road. And I think some people probably, you know, were saying, you know, yeah, this is great, but there's going to be a day of reckoning because we can't just give everyone the terms they want. without there being a day of reckoning. And those days of reckoning kept coming, didn't they? You know, we kept getting releases after releases after releases. And it was awful. It was horrific. And what was amazing was Vince somehow managed to avoid a lot of the criticism. It somehow went on to Nick Khan, which was, I don't really understand. I don't know. I don't know what I blame Nick Khan for. I mean, I feel like he's a businessman. He's a businessman that saw the numbers needed correcting. For the long-term success of the company, he knew the numbers needed to be, change course. And I don't know what we can blame him for on that. So yeah, I don't have an issue with him, to be honest. Did you notice the red metal eco skeleton under the Howdy mask? It's clearly shown under the Howdy mask in the WWWY clip. What's that? WWWY clip. And Wyatt tweeted Yogo, he was becoming a machine to not feel pain anymore. Did you notice the metal echo skeleton under the Howdy mask? It's shown in the WWW. I don't know what that is. What is the WWWY clip? Send it over. I'll have a look. Anderson is meant to be wrestling twice in 2 different countries on the same day in Saudi and Japan. Yeah, I mean, clearly something's got to give, hasn't it? He's going to have to go to one or the other. My guess is that WWE will win that. Whether there'll need to be some kind of compensation that gets given to New Japan, I'm not too sure. But I'd have to think that was probably discussed when he got brought in. Like, what dates have you got left? Let's have a look and compare and sort it out. So, yeah, I'm sure it's something they're aware of. Jade for Life 12 said, I think Vince should have retired long ago. The releases mess things up big time. Not saying that Nick Khan did nothing, but Vince did most of the releases. Roman Dutch Joe said, I hate when people say WWE is better than AEW. Personally, I think it's what your preference is. If you like wrestling that has foul language and gore, AEW is for you. If not, then WWE is for you. Miss Clown, hello, said to cut budget, all they needed to do was buy less oranges in catering. Dude, if only you was there to, give them that advice. That's all it needed, wasn't it? That's all it needed. Wyatt tweeted a year ago, he became a machine. Why is no one talking about the red metal exoskeleton under the Howdy mask? It gives me Freddy Fazbear vibes, says Silverbolt. I don't know that anyone's seen an exoskeleton, to be honest. I can't recall seeing an exoskeleton underneath the mask. Unless it's like one of those moments where the mask is glitching, because obviously there's a lot of glitching, and there might have been a glitch that kind of looks like it reveals behind the mask or something along those lines. But as I said, send the clip over. I don't know what the WWWY clip is that you're referring to. What about tickling someone into submission, said Exposing. Listen, I've no doubts that has not already been done on the indie scene. I'd imagine it's probably someone's finisher already. Bearded Bronco said Carl is going to be in Japan and Saudi will be changed. Either Edge gets added or someone else. Good Brothers are allowed to still work with New Japan till 2023, says James. Trini said, Vince to me was more worried about paying paralegals than staff. Too soon? No, not too soon. Too late, actually. Jake said, just for your information, Bray's new theme is a new song. Okay, so what? It's a new song that was created just for him, was it? Because I don't know Code Orange, so I don't know what their catalogue is. So if that is the case, that it's a brand new piece that's created for him, then yes, I could be more open to thinking that the lyrics have been specifically worded for a certain reason. So Carmelo Hayes is money, said Rondell. Miss Clown 1 said lots of changes as of late, and I like it. What's the greatest era of wrestling, said Ronnie. Don't know, to be honest. I really don't know. That's a real difficult one to answer because, I mean, for example, they say that the 1950s, Gorgeous George was responsible for selling as many TVs as anyone. People bought TVs so that they could watch wrestling. And wrestling has always been a cheap form of entertainment. I mean, what do you need? Basically, you need a ring. You need a camera, and you need a ring, and you need two guys. I mean, it ain't difficult, is it, really? It ain't difficult. So it's, as long as you've got the ring, you can just constantly keep changing the couple of guys. And because it was a cheap form of entertainment, it meant that, you know, it was on quite a bit, and he was one of the biggest stars. Gorgeous George was one of the biggest stars around. Like, he was, like, just known everywhere. So you kind of look at that and you think, wow, imagine having a TV and one of the biggest stars at the time is a wrestler. And, like, that's what a lot of people are watching. Like, you have to think that it's really easy because we weren't around at that time and our knowledge of that time is very limited. It's really easy for us to think that wrestling has just kind of grown in popularity as the years have gone by. It's really easy to think that wrestling was a little summit that happened in circuses and carnivals or whatever. And then, like, you know, it grew and grew until here we are now with the WWE. But that's not quite the story of wrestling. The story of wrestling is boom periods and then declines and boom periods and declines and the territories and lots of different companies that had massive moments that have now gone. And, you know, we're in an age now where WWE, and thanks to the internet in particular, has really took over the world. You know, they have managed to, using the internet and social media, they've been able to, like, really establish in a following and really cement themselves as the market leaders. You know, don't forget, in the 90s, it was like WWE or WCW. It was really like, you know, those two battling it out. Obviously, in different places, you had New Japan and, you know, things like that, AAA, CMLL. But in North America, it was those two. And obviously, WWE, as we know, was victorious. And so you could look at the Attitude Era. That seems like the obvious, easy answer. I don't know that that's the truth, to be honest. I mean, I feel like that is certainly a period when a lot of people were watching it, but I don't think it's the period where most people were watching it. I really don't. That'd be a very interesting question for Dave Meltzer. What was the most viewed period of wrestling? I don't believe it's the Attitude Era. I really don't. I think you've got to go back to, like, Jim Londis kind of days and Gorgeous George days and maybe Ed Strangler Lewis days for that, and like maybe when, like, TV's kind of coming in, like 40s, 50s. I feel like it's probably around that kind of ballpark, around that kind of time. And then as things went on, it was very, like, you know, regional and the territories and house shows and things along those lines. And then everyone's watching their own form of wrestling. And then, like, as I said, you know, Texas is watching Texas, Florida is watching Florida, so on and so on. And then, of course, if stars would move over, Andre would travel around and everything. But, yeah, difficult, really hard to pin it down. So I feel like you could make an argument that for now, maybe there's more eyes and people aware of it than ever before because there's more people in the world than ever before. And they're probably getting into markets now that they weren't in before. I have no idea in the 50s if WWE was known in India. Do you know what I mean? But, like, what was it, 50, 60 million people watched WrestleMania in India this year? So you kind of look at that and go, well, maybe now is, like, the most viewed time, but just not on TV through, you know, social media, through YouTube, through all the different avenues that people watch, you know. Interesting, though. But what we're interested in is NXT. Let's have a look, see what we've got. I've got AEW just about to begin as well. As he said, we are going to be watching both shows this evening. NXT. Okay, NXT has begun. I don't have visibility yet on AEW. It hasn't actually gone over to the show. This Rhea Ripley to open the show, is it? We've got Judgment Day music. Judgment Day. It's got to be Rhea. It's all of Judgment Day. Wow. All of Judgment Day. Imagine being in the crowd for this. Look at this. Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley, Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor. Or, hey, look, Dominic. Dominic's where he should be. Dominic's back home. We've got all of... Look at this. They're literally jumping for joy. They are jumping for joy. Over on AEW, we've got Orange Cassidy just coming out. Pappy. Mommy is having a few words for Dominic. Rhea Ripley then. Rhea Ripley is going to be taking on Roxanne Perez. AEW Trios match starting. Seeing NXT is stacked with main roster talent, says to Heel. That was sick, man. Having all of Judgment Day come out, that was cool. Is there a welcome back chant? Welcome back. Welcome back. Booker T, obviously on commentary. All of Judgment Day together. Yes, yes, yes. Cool. Roxanne Perez is making her way down. So here is Roxanne Perez. This should be a good match. Big match for Roxanne Perez. She's got a big smile on her face. I kind of feel like she shouldn't be as happy about this. Like, she's about to take on Rhea Ripley. I feel like she should be concerned. Big smile on Roxanne Perez's face, though. I mean, I'd imagine she's still excited. Probably a bit nervous as well, taking a few deep breaths there. She's in one corner, Rhea Ripley in the other. Smile on the face of Rhea Ripley. She's certainly ready for this. Rhea Ripley in the ring with Roxanne Perez. These two circling around. Look at the size of Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley is towering over Roxanne Perez. These two hooking up then. Against the ropes goes Roxanne. She goes through the ropes and spills to the outsides. Rhea Ripley in control. WWE higher-ups are impressed with Roxanne Perez on SmackDown. They're planning to use her again in the future, said James. James, shout out to you. Crowd should chant Beth, said Alexandra. Bobby Fish has been working at NXT recently as a backstage coach, says Gordon. I would be excited to be dominated by Rhea Ripley, said let him in. Stacey, shout out to you. Hayden said he's keeping an eye on both shows. Yeah, I'm doing the same. Both shows underway then. We got Perez in control. She's working on the arm of Rhea Ripley and kicking at her legs. Rhea Ripley has grabbed her by the head. Against the ropes goes Perez. Rolls through. Rolls back. Goes round, goes down. She tries to roll up Rhea. Didn't quite work out for her. Lands on her feet. Chop coming in by Roxanne. Chop again. Headbutt to the midsection by Rhea Ripley. Kick to Roxanne. Love that knee. Love the selling. Love the head into the knee. And I love Perez when she came up. She was like proper selling it. In the corner, shoulder right into the midsection of Roxanne. Rhea is having to be the ring general in this one. Big clubbing blow to the back of Roxanne Perez. She goes down. Over to the ropes. Oh, she bounces off chest first. Big clubbing blow to the back. So far, Rhea Ripley in control. This looks like if Ngannou fought Mighty Mouse. Exactly the same. Big forearm strike again there by Rhea Ripley. No AEW tomorrow. No AEW tomorrow. Again, against the ropes, off the ropes. Oh, forearm strike there by Perez. Perez throwing in forearms. Kick to the midsection by Rhea Ripley. On the feet, scooping up in the air, on the shoulders. Verse round. Oh, nice head scissor takeover. That was good by Roxanne Perez. Perez going against the ropes. She went to do a suicide dive, but Rhea Ripley just walked away. Roxanne Perez trying to go through the ropes. Double axe handle to the side of the head. Perez right back on the edge of the ring. Jumps up, gets caught by Ripley. Ripley picks up Perez. She's up on her shoulder. She's going to slam her face first. Into the edge of the ring. Perez goes down. Really like Perez, right? Because she bumps like a trooper, man. She bumps like a trooper. She proper throws herself into stuff. She takes big bumps. She's got great facial expressions. Hot crowd, said Wrestling Guy. Over on AEW, we are underway with Death Triangle taking on Best Friends. Right now, we got Pac and Orange Cassidy in the ring. But I feel for moderately attractive dogs, hot dogs get all the attention, says Miss Clown One. Corbett said WWE trying to make their crowd look larger by adding people in front of the NXT. Oh, they've done that for a long time. It's been that way for quite a while. Yeah, great crowds. Crowd are really, really vocal. Don't know what we're like in AEW. A little bit muted at the moment. Pac looking out to the crowd, going over. Orange Cassidy up. Crowd a bit quiet, actually, over on AEW for this opening contest. I think it was a great move by NXT to bring out Judgment Day right at the start. Didn't expect it. Thought it was just going to be Rhea Ripley. And that's a great move because, like, the energy that brought, like, that shock to open the show was good. Was really good. Certainly grabbed the crowd, hasn't it? It's caught their attention. There's a big multi-man spot in the trios match. Someone in the crowd dressed as Danhausen. Someone in the crowd dressed as Orange Cassidy. What are your thoughts on Rhea as a talent? I'm not saying she's bad. I just never get the appeal as being a top star. I would say her Charlotte was great at WrestleMania. I like Rhea. I think that she lays stuff in. I think she takes her time. I think that she's got I think her look is great. But I think her in-ring is strong as well. I don't know that it's spectacular, but I feel like she's capable of great matches if because she takes her time and she sells really well. And she's got that kind of, great look to her. She's got a great size. Like, she's pretty jacked as well. I feel like the ingredients are there for her to be able to put on, like, a really good match. And as you said, her against Charlotte was really good. I think, though, my one criticism of Rhea in the past, this is going back about 2 years ago. I don't know that it stands anymore. But I used to get very frustrated with her in NXT UK and NXT because she would get her like a great match would be brilliant, and then she'd get into a submission hold and she would always find a way out. Like, it got to the point where when she was in a submission hold, it just didn't do anything for you. It didn't do anything for me because you just knew that she was getting out of it. I mean, she would escape 3, 4, in a lot of matches. Right at the end, they would try and build up tension with her being in some kind of submission, and she'd just get out of it. And like when you see that match after match after match, I don't know if it like worked for her and like, you know, it worked people up and people like got on her side because she'd managed to overcome and get out of the submission. That she kept going back to it and kept doing it. Or maybe it wasn't her. Maybe it was just the people booking the matches. Just really enjoyed those spots. But I can remember watching a lot of her matches and that same criticism kept coming up. So I can't say that's something I've noticed for a long, long time. I'll be interested to look here, see if it happens again. No, I'm not talking about once. Once you can understand. I'm talking it was like 3, 4 times in a match she'd be in a submission and she would find a way out of it. And I remember saying, like, man, I just wish that like that wasn't always the case with her matches. Just makes them a bit like you're just dead to them. Just know she's going to get out of the submission hold. So, yeah, I don't know as to say if that's something that's evolved or changed. Could have just been the booking. But I really like her. As I say, I think she's very good at playing to the crowds, taking her time, involving the crowd. It's not like she goes in there, goes a million miles an hour and like doesn't, you know, bring the crowd along with her. She's always talking to the crowd, always smiling to the crowd. That's a big thing, actually, in wrestling matches, is don't ignore that the crowd are there. And she's very good at not doing that. She's very good at constantly having the crowd involved. Kick coming in by Roxanne. And again, another kick coming in there by Roxanne. Big boot by Rhea Ripley. Misses. Uppercut by Roxanne Perez. And again, another elbow. Roxanne looking to hurl Rhea against the ropes. They're both saying no to each other as they both prevent each other from going for what they were going for. We're going to look for a Russian leg sweep. No, up. She's got Roxanne up. Oh, little sloppy. Roxanne is down. Rhea's grabbed her hair, pulling her up. Oh, nice. That was nice. Chin breaker. Chin breaker by Roxanne Perez. Roxanne charging over. Uppercut there by Roxanne. Roll through. Charging over again. Looking for another uppercut as Rhea Ripley moves out the way. Oh, look at Ripley. Ripley hurled herself like a lawn dart into the corner. Roxanne Perez had moved. And Rhea Ripley spills to the outside. She went for that. Roxanne Perez goes to the outside as well with a suicide dive. Not the biggest fan of Roxanne Perez's suicide dives. I don't know that that's a strength of hers, but she's going up top here, Roxanne Perez. Man, that's seeing Rhea Ripley shoot through the ropes was crazy, man. Right, we've got an advert for the 6-person tag match. Rhea Ripley up top, looking for the superplex. Going for the superplex. Roxanne Perez trying to survive, trying to find a way in between the legs of Rhea Ripley. She does go through. Goes up. She's reversed the position. Roxanne Perez is persistent. Big move there by Perez. Looking for Hurricanrana. Shoulder up there by Rhea Ripley. Match continues. 15 minutes gone in the show so far. NXT chants. Does this remind you of the third group game in a World Cup where the games are all on at the same time and you're torn? Does have that vibe, yeah. Does have that vibe. Charging over. It just reminds me of like how it used to be when we used to watch both shows on a Wednesday. To shoulder up by Perez. Perez getting shoulder up. Crowd still quite vocal. Still into this. Rhea Ripley, who, in fairness, we haven't been seeing in action. We have not been seeing much of Rhea Ripley in action because of her injury that she sustained a few months back. Kick to the midsection by Roxanne. Roxanne over by the ropes. Dominic looked like he was going to interfere. Headbutt by Rhea Ripley. Looking for the riptides. Gets it. 1, 2, 3. I really don't think that Dominic needed to interfere. Like, that should be a match that Rhea Ripley just wins clean, to be honest. There's no problems with Rhea Ripley beating Roxanne Perez clean. But, you know, we had Dominic kind of do a little bit of interference. Just momentarily, but it was enough to distract. Headbutt connects. Riptides. And 1, 2, 3. Someone who knows all said she's been wrestling. Good match, not great. Don't over-exaggerate it because it's AEW. Has chosen next day. Mentioned that the war is over, said Versus. Rhea Ripley wins. Yeah, it is a win for Rhea Ripley. So we get Judgment Day. Get Judgment Day. Hello, we got Gallows and Anderson. Backstage with Cameron Grimes. He says, I've got the hottest tag team in the business with me. We're just too sweet. Why do you think we accepted your offer? Cameron Grimes said, I think it's because I've got all the paper. There's a bit more personality from him here, you know. A bit more personality from him. It's good to see. Seeing Gallows like sniffing the money. He was loving it. Tony, the Don of NXT. Is this going to be Stax's moment now? Dynamite is at commercial break. To the moon. Roxanne is a future champ. I'm going to enjoy watching her get there, said Trini. Here's Stax. Hey, Stax! You're ready to throw down. Yeah. Help me into the ring. Who is the mystery person, eh? Who is the mystery person? Tony's got a crutch. Is this going to be a big moment? It's hard to know, innit? I really don't know which way this is going. Who does Tony know? Who does Tony know? He should have got the pizza guy. That would make sense, wouldn't it? Primo Luigi. I got the pizza guy. Who is it? You want to know who it is? You want to know who it is? Yeah! Allow me to introduce. Here we go. When we come back from commercial break. Do you know what? I really thought he was going to say that it was him. I was sat there and the name I thought he was going to say was, I thought he was going to say, it's me. And then for some reason I thought he was going to wallop him with the crutch. That's what I was expecting. I don't know why I was expecting that, but that's what I was expecting. What are your thoughts on the NXT cards with the main roster talent? I don't think it's to counteract AEW. I think it's sort of a trial run for Survivor Series stuff for NXT. I think it's to counteract AEW, to be honest. I think that of all the weeks to do this, it just happens to be the same week that AEW moved to a Tuesday. Just seems like a bit too much of a coincidence to me. So I think that, and don't forget, this is a go-home show as well. Like, their main actual big show is on Saturday, Halloween Havoc. This should be us putting the final touches to Halloween Havoc. So I think to do it this week makes me think it's got to be connected with AEW moving. I was thinking the same, said James. I had that feeling. Yeah, I don't know why. Weird, isn't it? I just thought he was going to smack him with the crutch. But it didn't go that way. Where we've gone now is we've gone to commercial break. So we are 20 minutes into the show. Good first match between Rhea Ripley and Roxanne Perez. I kept an eye. I don't actually know who won, but I was keeping an eye. We've got on AEW, we've got Shida coming out right now. It's going to be Hikaru Shida taking on Toni Storm. Interim Women's Championship. So there, she's making her way down. We are at commercial break for NXT. Let's be real. H has got a chip on his shoulder from having lost the Wednesday Night War, whether he wants to admit it or not. You sound like the person from SummerSlam 92. Triple H has got a chip on his shoulder, whether he wants to admit it or not. Makes me think of that. Shida versus Toni Storm. Let's go Shida, says Heather. Legend Killer, shout out to you. Shida 3 belts, says Leo. Legend Killer cheering on Toni Storm. Toni Storm making her way down. She's got the belt. She's been very vocal about wanting Thunder Rosa to come back and to beat her. She really wants to be the proper champ. She doesn't like this interim nonsense, as she put it. So, yeah, Toni Storm very much wants to get her hands on the proper championship. This is AEW Interim Women's Championship match. Toni Storm against Hikaru Shida. Gotta think this is probably going to be a win for Storm. I don't think they're going to change it over. I feel like Toni Storm's been doing pretty well. Logan Paul returns to SmackDown. Logan Paul returns to SmackDown. Plus Shotzi and Raquel against Damage Control. Friday Night SmackDown. Toledo. And then a little Uncle Howdy. We got Grayson Waller backstage. You blinded Apollo. Yeah, I blinded him. I blinded him with my star power. You blinded Apollo. Oh, Chucky's interrupted. Your match is going to be spin the wheel, make the deal. Did anyone watch the Chucky show? I haven't seen it. I don't know if it's any good. Chucky, Chucky interrupts. Spin the wheel, make the deal. Okay, here we go then. Who's going to be the opponent? We're going to find out who Stax is going to be facing. Oh, it's Shinsuke! How does Tony know Shinsuke? Shinsuke Nakamura. What? SmackDown superstar. New Japan legend. Shinsuke Nakamura is going to be in action next. Damn, man. This is insane. Look at this. Crowd are going crazy right now as Shinsuke is in NXT. There's some serious star power on this show, isn't there? Some serious star power. He looks great in yellow, actually. We've seen him in red and we see him in blue, but he's wearing yellow and black. He looks really good. Crowd singing along. Brings back the memories, doesn't it, man, of when he was down in NXT. Yeah, that's great. That's great. That's a great surprise. That's a great surprise. Look at the smile on his face. That's great. Stacks. Oh. Oh. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back chants. I feel like we're going to be seeing or hearing welcome back chants quite a bit tonight. Nakamura. Okay, let's have a look to see what we've got here then. We've got Stacks. Yeah, Royal Rumble winner, yeah. It's easy to forget like what he's actually achieved because he has not had the booking. Against the ropes goes Stacks. There were rumors that Triple H was going to look to use Nakamura quite a bit. Imagine Roman versus Nakamura in Japan. Oh. That'd feel quite Street Fighter-y, wouldn't it? You know, like where you go over to the different countries. You go to Brazil and you face Blanca. You go to India, you face Dalsim. Imagine Roman. Roman's already been to the UK to face Drew. Imagine like he goes to Japan to face Shinsuke. Oh, that'd be good. That'd be good. Shinsuke has got Stacks. He's got Stacks up, drives him down. Do you think WWE could send jobbers to NXT to help build and train the NXT 2.0 people? Send jobbers. I mean, they are trained well. I mean, they've got legends and people that are, you know, behind the training. I mean, literally, you can go to NXT and have conversations with Shawn Michaels. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you're looked after in NXT. You've got some great trainers. And they've been doing it a while, so they know, basically. If you was to get someone off the street and put them through a training program, what do you need to train them? When do you need to train them? When do they progress to the next level? What is it you're looking for? Like, that whole process, they will know by now inside and out. Like, they've known it for a long time, but I think things are constantly evolving and changing, like nutrition and all that kind of stuff. So I think they'll have a very good idea of, you know, what's needed. The only reason they really need to bring people down to NXT isn't so much from a training point of view. I think it's more to boost the ratings on the show. Nakamura, duck underneath, against the ropes. Lovely kick there by Nakamura as Stacks goes down. Nakamura on his feet. Nakamura, former NXT champion, of course. Come on! Blocks the shot. Forearm strike. Kick to the midsection by Nakamura. Lovely kick. Stacks goes down. Stacks over in the corner, still underway on AEW with Tony and Hikaru Shida. Kick to the back of the head. Nakamura slides in between the legs. Nice. Sliding German suplex. 1, 2. Kick out by Stacks. Who do you think Bray will feud with? I feel like Judgment Day is got to be an option. Bloodline, I think, is an option. Randy, when he returns, I think is an option. Cody, when he returns, is an option. So those are those names that I'm thinking. The one time I don't think AEW and WWE have got anything to do with each other, you all say it is. Glad AEW is getting the women's match out early. Richard said Gacy and Bianca brawl in the locker room. Right now, confirmed, said Richard. Gacy and Bianca Belair. Dream match. Dream match. Right, we've got Nakamura down. We've got... Oh, big strike there by Stacks. Stacks going against the ropes. Goes for a boot to the side of the head. Spin kick there by Nakamura. Nakamura charging over. Big boot. Stacks gets caught against the ropes. Spills to the outside. Imagine if you was at this show. Imagine if you went to this taping. Been spoilt, man. Spoilt. Nakamura on the outside, grabs Stacks, throws him in the ring. This episode of NXT might turn out to be like a lost classic. People will be like, do you remember that episode of NXT when all these main roster stars came down? And we had Rhea Ripley and we had Raquel Rodriguez. And we had Nakamura doing a Kinshasa. And there we go. Kinshasa win for Nakamura. Saraya is making her way down. Saraya collides into Britt. Big clubbing blows by Saraya. Saraya and Britt on the outside. Into the railing goes Britt Baker. We want women's tag belts, says a sign in the crowds. Tony Storm is down. Here's Rio. Rio has come out. I'm proud of you, kid, said Tony. Come on. I'm proud of you, kid. Okay, well, he said he's proud of him. Axiom and Nathan Fraser. They're talking about their matches. Nathan Fraser said those 3 matches will stick with me for a very long time. Von Wagner is here with Mr. Stone. NXT has been awesome so far, says Tommy. Isn't Shawn Michaels the NXT guy? Is the NXT guy, yeah. Hayden said, I'm excited for Raquel. Going to be a great future champion. Soccer boy. Okay, so Von Wagner, Axiom, Nathan Fraser all just exchanging words backstage. Alba Fyre. Time for Alba Fyre. Alba Fyre versus... So I was so excited last week when we had Sonya Deville. I had no idea this was going to turn into a flipping mini WrestleMania. Alba Fyre making her way down to the ring with her red baseball bat. What channel is NXT on? It's on USA in America. It's on BT Sport in the UK. Do you think WWE follows through with the main roster on NXT at least for a month, or will they dump it, or will they hope everyone has amnesia by next week? Follow through with main roster on NXT next week. I think we've been seeing some main roster stars coming in for a little bit. You know, I mean, if you think we had Apollo Crews, we've had Dolph Ziggler, we've had Mandy Rose. You know, there's been the odd star that's kind of gone down. Wasn't there like Natalia that came down and did something with Cora Jade? So we've been getting a few main roster stars kind of coming down. So I don't expect anything on this level next week, unless AEW are doing another show next week on a Tuesday. I think it'll kind of settle back down into a bit of a normal groove, but I think you'll see fairly consistent appearances. Nothing. I don't think we'll see anything like this, though. Surprise opponent Nakamura and the whole of Judgment Day opening the show and all this kind of stuff. But wouldn't it be awesome if the Steiner brothers came back and wrestled? Said Jonathan. I don't know if they could, to be honest. I don't think their bodies are in the best of conditions. Exposing said, I've got Alba Fyre's autograph. Nice. Alex said, just saw a tweet saying you don't want to miss NXT tonight. Mia Yim liked the tweet. Oh my God. What does that mean? Tegan Knox. Who was Mia Yim friends with? I don't think it's Mia Yim. Is she still with Impact? And it won't be Keith Lee. Tegan Knox would be my guess. Tegan Knox. Thoughts on NXT? Seems like AEW Dark main event stars beating jobbers. Tonight, NXT seems like AEW Dark main event stars beating jobbers. Well, I would disagree with that because these jobbers that you're referring to, we see week after week after week. They are the stars of NXT. I mean, Roxanne Perez, people have got high hopes for her. People are really into her. So certainly not someone that we don't know anything about or haven't seen much of. The thing with Dark is that is the main roster stars going up against people that have been brought in for 1 week to, you know, see if they're any good, have a look, are they worth a try, local talent, things along those lines. This is the NXT stars going up against the main roster stars. So I wouldn't say it feels like AEW Dark. I would say that it's a bit of a Worlds Collide kind of Survivor Series kind of a vibe where you've got NXT, the brand, going up against the stars of Raw and the stars of SmackDown. AR1 said next week FTR versus Swerve in Our Glory #1 contenders match. That'll be good. Tommy said, are you enjoying NXT again? I really liked Heatwave. I thought the show they did after Heatwave was really good. Then there was a few weeks that it just didn't seem great. But I think those were the weeks where it was taped and they had already committed to making some changes. Now we've got the changes and we've had a few weeks of changes. It's hard to tell because, to be honest, this is such a treat, such an exception. You know, I mean, as we said, when do you ever get a show like this? I could see this being a bit of a lost cult show tonight. Do you remember that show where Rhea Ripley, Shinsuke Nakamura, Sonya Deville, all these came down to NXT and we got this match and that match? I mean, if Roxanne Perez goes on to achieve big things like we think she will, if Cora Jade goes on to achieve big things like we think that she will, if Schism, Joe Gacy, and the Dyad if they go on to achieve big things, I don't know that they will, but I think Gacy will. I think you can go back to this show and go, look at that, man. Roxanne Perez against Rhea Ripley. Like, it's gonna be. We might get these matches on the main roster in the future. You might see Roxanne Perez, Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania in about 5 years' time. Who knows? So how weird and fun and kind of crazy that you're seeing these matches in NXT. Right now, we've got Sonya in there with Alba Fyre. So match number 3, and so far, all 3 matches have had main roster stars in. Alba Fyre is someone that people thought might have been going to the main roster sooner rather than later. We saw Doudrop go straight from NXT UK to the main roster, and Kaylee Ray was probably the best booked female. Maybe her or Miko Satomura in NXT UK. I'd probably go with Kaylee Ray, actually, as being the best booked female. So, yeah, I think a lot of people thought she would probably go to the main roster, but they actually ended up tweaking her gimmick, calling her Alba Fyre. Obviously, she's got this whole kind of fire gimmick now, which is kind of interesting. Oh, man, that boot by Sonya Deville. They're just showing a replay of it. It was crazy. Collides into Sonya. Sonya goes down. Alba coming over. Big strike to the chest. Death Triangle retained on AEW, says Adam. Appreciate it. Brent said, if you're interested in a bit of wrestling history, Cornette did a segment on Canadian wrestling history and went over the top 20 crowds in Canadian wrestling history. I'll have to try and get to it. Right, we're seeing Toxic Attraction jumping up. We've got a few things going on here. I was just reading the dates. The NXT is on tour. So I was just looking at the dates of that. We've got Jay Lethal and Darby Allin. Oh, kick by Sonya. Sonya kicks Gigi Dolan, and it's a win for Alba Fyre. Sonya Deville has lost. But now they're all ganging up on Alba Fyre. Squealing and screaming away. I tell you what, I thought that match was going to be a bit longer, but... Is this Mandy? Music's playing. Here is Mandy Rose. Alba Fyre. Wow, I mean, look at what Mandy Rose is wearing. That's a stunning outfit. I'm fighting Fyre. I'm fighting Fyre with Fyre. She's managed to fight her way free, though. Mandy Rose has got the title. Alba Fyre's got the baseball bat. Mandy Rose jumps out the ring, goes to the outside. The title is left in the ring. So, not the longest of matches. So, Alba Fyre wins. Sonya kicks Gigi Dolan, who was getting involved. They all grab a hold of Alba Fyre. She fights them all off on her own. Not sure about that. Mandy Rose looks stunning, though. Right, we've got Wesley, we've got Oro Mensah, we've got Carmelo, we've got Trick Williams, got a big brawl backstage. And the cameraman can't even keep up with what's going on. Booker T loving it. MJF in the ring with Regal. Oh, it's spilling out into the arena. Oh, it's gone to commercial break. So, big brawl. We got MJF and Regal. Just keeping an eye on that. We've got you WWE extra work. To me at the time, it was an opportunity. WWE mentioned on AEW. Me and the extras. We were greeted and spoken to by none other than William Regal. You had us against a random opponent. And my match was second. Arn Anderson watched. Dean Malenko watched. Adam Pearce watched. And William Regal. It's just an interesting story. It's not really a promo. It's more of a story at the moment. I wasn't fighting for a contract. I was fighting for my life. Wrestling is my life. I was victorious. You pulled me away from the group and said, follow me. You've got 3 minutes to sell yourself to me. You said, kid, I'm going to get you a job here today. And then what happened? I was going to be a superstar. I'm like a face promo, this, isn't it? You asked me how old I was. I said 19. And you looked at me and said, I'm sorry. You're much too young. Booze for William Regal. Booze for William Regal. How dare he look out for children? Oro and where's... You effed up, Chance. You said to me... Claudio, Bryan Danielson, John Moxley. I don't like to put my name to people, but when I do, they get jobs. I want you to go home. I want you to work every month, but I want you to send me a match and a promo. Month 1, he got a response. Month 2, he got a response. You sent me a promo that I've read every day since. See, honestly, it's like story time with MJF, innit? What if we're inside the funhouse? Do not reply to this. William Regal sent MJF a message saying the game has changed. You sent that email to a kid, a child with a dream. He's getting all upset. What? I don't know what we're trying to do here. I don't know what we're doing. William Regal is staring at MJF, smirking. It's not a good look for Regal. Adam Page, Moxley in the main event tonight. Oh, that's a lovely crossbody there by... Is that Nathan Fraser? You got fired. I'm MJF. I'm a generational talent, says MJF. I'm waiting for the William Regal response. It's a lot of tools in the chat said exposing. Worst thing they could do is make MJF a babyface. I'm waiting for the William Regal response because I have no idea what they're doing with that promo. It's a very interesting story, but yeah, I mean, it's making MJF a face. It's making William Regal a heel. Just hearing from Schism in... They're coming up next. Cameron Grimes and OC versus Schism. Okay, so MJF throws the microphone down. The crowd applauds. Great promo from MJF, says Hayden. Just Nick said that's a great promo. Who's for William Regal? I wasn't trying to cast you aside. I saw someone who would be a big star. William Regal said, you've had it easy, sunshine. It's a lovely back and forth, this is. It is a lovely back and forth. Regal is a genius, says Heather. Before you was born, I was insulting Mr. Schiavone. You don't put your hand on someone like Mr. Schiavone. I was insulting him before you was born. You let me down because you took shortcuts. Is Regal drunk? Says Corvids. When I use these brass knucks, I use them because I just like to hit people with them. Okay, over on NXT, we've just got an interview with Bron Breakker. Kevin Owens is going to be on the show later tonight. I feel like tonight, where are we? An hour in. I feel like NXT has killed it up until this segment. And I feel like this segment has been... puts the ring on. Been a big segment. William Regal knows that MJF wants to hit him with the ring. Here's Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes! Regal is a goat of the business and the microphone. Cameron Grimes and yeah. Okay, OC making their way out. Regal cut the most amazing promo, said SP. Great stuff, says Corvids. Nothing is going to top that tonight, says Heather. Brilliant segment, said Just Nick. Are you streaming Halloween Havoc on Saturday? Yes. Yes, we are going to look to do Halloween Havoc on Saturday. Just got some footage of Ring of Honor. Promo was phenomenal, said House of Toad. Promo of the year, says Luke. Okay, here we go then. About to get underway with Cameron Grimes and OC versus Carmelo. I don't even know who Carmelo is. Carmelo. Rick Williams. Against the ropes, down goes I still don't know their names. I don't know if they're still going by James Drake and Gibson. But against the ropes, we've got formerly known as James Drake. Knee to the midsection there by Cameron Grimes. Goes against the ropes. AEW is still showing a video package for the Ring of Honor World Championship match that's coming up later. Jericho against Dalton Castle. Kicks coming in by Cameron Grimes. Dalton Castle is underrated, says AR1. Thankfully, UFC finishes a few hours before Halloween Havoc starts, which is at 1 a.m. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine as soon as UFC finishes, we'll pretty much look to get going. We always start before the kickoff show. Haven't seen exact timings, but I would imagine they'll be relatively close. Remember when Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly were the boys from Dalton Castle, says Corvids. If Chris wants the most heat ever, he should turn the Ring of Honor World's Heavyweight Championship into a spinner belt. Oh, that's a great shout. That's a great shout. Regal might be AEW's version of Paul Heyman. Am I off on that comparison? I think so. I don't think he's Paul Heyman level promo. I think that there's been a few missteps by Regal on the mic, and I think, to be honest, it's maybe adjusting back. Like when we first saw him, don't forget, first time we saw him, he went on Twitter after to apologize for going over and basically say, like, I'm really sorry I didn't hit my time. And actually, there was parts of that first promo that was quite waffly. I feel like Paul Heyman is very good at saying, these are the people in the match. This is why you should care. This is where the match is taking place. Make sure that you're there. Make sure you watch him. And he's very He's very businessman-like, and very, sticks to the script, if you will. Not that there is a script. He's just very good at formatting and getting his promos in a nicely organized. I don't know that William Regal's that way. I think William Regal is a bit more round the houses, a little bit more waffly. I think, I don't know that he's as focused with his messaging in his promos. But, look, he can certainly talk. He's not someone that gets lost on a microphone. Anderson goes to the outsides. Did you see Tony said Ring of Honor is going to have another pay-per-view this year and then they get a weekly TV show? He told Sports Illustrated that. What are your thoughts? I think they need a weekly TV show. I would like to get the Ring of Honor belts off of Dynamite. I think that Ring of Honor needs to be its own thing, basically, and it'll be good to see it have a dedicated roster with, Dynamite stars popping up over there. But I suppose very similar to what we're seeing with NXT and main roster and all that kind of stuff. So, I think that it would tidy a lot of stuff up. It feels like it's what's needed. Where that leaves Dark and Elevation, I don't know, because I think that Ring of Honor will be kind of used as like a developmental. I could be way off on that, but I just think that it makes sense that they use it as developmental and then people come through that and then go into... Maybe Dark and Elevation are people that they're looking at as potential recruits for Ring of Honor. And then if you do get signed, you go to Ring of Honor and then like you're part of that roster and then you get brought up to AEW Dynamite. Maybe that will be the path. Maybe that'll be what what they look to do. But it'll be interesting. Obviously, we'll get some more answers as we get up and running. What if Rampage became Ring of Honor? That could be fun. That'd be interesting. The only thing is, what's their roster going to be like? Is it because at the moment, they're using big names on Rampage. So what's that going to be like, If you lose the bigger names and replace it with Ring of Honor names. But then saying that, until I see a Ring of Honor roster, it's hard to know how big it's going to be. At the moment, you've got like Jericho as the champion. I don't know that that's sustainable. I don't know that it should be that way. Really, what you need is your Ring of Honor champion being like Bron Breakker, you know? Your big star of the future type thing. Do you really? I got timed out. I disagree with any of you. You're matching outfits again. Yeah, I thought I'd give it a go. Think if some in NXT invade AEW and... Yeah, I mean, we're not going to be seeing that. They're obviously two separate companies, aren't they? But you're way off. Tony has said multiple times he's not got any interest in using Ring of Honor as a developmental and he doesn't want to split the roster. I haven't heard what they've said, so I don't know. Color coordinating, that's what we're doing. Right, we are at commercial break for NXT. We've got the sit-down interview with Renee and Danielson and Wheeler Yuta. So we're seeing them in conversation at the moment. Coach Co said the Titanic film runs for as long as it took for the ship to sink. Titanic is 2 hours 45 minutes, which is also the same time that it took for the ship to sink in 1912. That's interesting. Bearded Bronco said they're using bigger names on Rampage and they still can't draw over 300,000. Yeah, I mean, I feel it's because, like, Rampage is seen as skippable. It's not live. I think some of the results, you know, you can find the results out there if you want to see what they are. I think we went through quite a long period of time where the matches just weren't that big. It kind of felt like Dynamite was getting everything and Rampage was, you know, maybe the stuff that you didn't really care about as much. So I think it's a bit of a shame because it's just sort of given it like a bit of a bad reputation. And so we'll have to see. We'll have to see like if they can turn that around. Because I've heard rumors that that's what Tony wants to do. Big entrance here for Dalton Castle. There is a salted caramel ice cap Tim Hortons ice cream at Walmart, and I want it, says Sonny. Right, we are back with NXT. We've got 50 minutes to go. Did you hear Bobby Fish will fight a boxer on the undercard of Deji Mayweather? I did, yes, I did. Gacy getting into the ring. Big boot by Gacy. We saw the Dyad swinging Cameron Grimes into Gacy, who caught him and powerbombed him. That was a nice spot. Who would you like to see as NXT champ before they retire? My three choices would be Seth, Gargano, and Dolph. I'm very much moving forwards. I'm not really into people going back and being champion. So I wouldn't really be into any established main roster star coming back down and getting it. I see it, as I said, as being like a developmental championship. So, you know, Gacy, I'd love Gacy to get it. Let's see what Gacy can do if he's NXT champ. Even during the Attitude Era, SmackDown didn't sniff Monday Night Raw's ratings because it was taped most of the time through 99 to 2016. Breton said the Titanic film's love story was viewed as legit for a time. There was a Jay Dawson in the ship's guest list and people put flowers on his grave that real Dawson worked in the engine room. Gacy has got... Cameron Grimes goes down. Whoever it is who times people out seems to happen a lot, says Undercover Manager. Shinsuke should drop back down, in my opinion, said Paulie. He just needs booking better, to be honest. I think I've heard rumours that they're going to look to book him better next year. So, right, we've got Cameron Grimes trying to make the tag to Gallows. Can't quite get over there, but he does. Tag made. Clothesline. Big strike. Clothesline again. Gallows exploding into the ring. Big kick there by Gallows. Gallows charging over. Back elbow by Gallows. Gets the ropes. Shoulder tackle. Strike. Goes for a kick. Kick to the midsection. Looking to pick up. Slammed that. Couldn't quite get the height there on Gibson. Gallows going over. Tags in Anderson. Anderson coming in. I did like their backstage segment earlier. Saw some personality from him, which was really good. Big boot by Gallows. Jake goes down. We pay more attention. We don't like that. We try and culture a free commenting chat, says William. Michael said Bron Breakker seems like a fantastic champion. A coffee taster. A coffee taster has got his tongue insured for 10 million. Oh. Again, we've got both of the Diad working together on Anderson. Anderson picked up. Big stomp there by Cameron Grimes. Big kick to Joe Gacy. Anderson, spine buster. Tag, in comes Gallows. Got him up. Magic Killer. 1, 2, 3. And it's a victory for... It's a victory for Gallows and Anderson. So Magic Killer gets it done. Oh, he ain't going to have the money on him, is he? Jeez. Gallows and Anderson, why are they checking his tights? Why are they trying to look down his trunks? He's hardly going to have the flipping money in there, is he? Right, we've got Mackenzie Mitchell with Veer Mahan. Everyone wants to know everyone else's business. What I said was just for my brother Sanga's ear. Sanga there? Here's Sanga. Big, innit, Sanga? I'm ready to listen, says Sanga. Excuse us. I'm down for these two. I'm down for it. Tony Khan has said AEW and Dark and Elevation are AEW's developmental brand, but it's also a way to give up-and-coming stars a way of getting noticed. So I think Tony is right. Brenton said NXT might be the place for Nakamura. Look at Mandy Rose and even Finn Balor pre-Judgment Day as examples. Their best work has been on NXT. Fair or not fair? Fair. I don't think I could argue that their better work has been on the main roster, but I think the booking has been better for them. I think you have to look at the booking. I mean, what opportunities do they get? Down in NXT, Finn Balor was champion. Mandy Rose was champion. Nakamura was champion. But they just don't get those opportunities on the main roster. Right, we are in a boardroom. We've got Casey and Caden. Nikita and Zoe Stark. We want to prove you wrong next week. When we take those titles away from you. So, women's tag match next week for the belts. It's really easy to be a team when you win. Okay, so boardroom, that's setting up next week. Who will host Halloween Havoc? Women's tags match next week. I wish Sanga's last name was Witch so that we could call him Sanga Witch. Nice. What's the craziest idea you have that would never happen but you wish would happen in either WWE or AEW? Don't know. To be honest, I don't really think about things that wouldn't happen. We're constantly talking. I mean, with wrestling, and I suppose this is like for most things, it's always about what's next, what's next, what's next, what's next. So, like, I feel like our constant conversations are, where is this going? What's this leading to? What does this mean? So we can work it out to know where we're going. And it's constantly that. It's constantly what's next, where we're going, who's going to beat Roman, when's Roman losing one of the titles, who's going to beat him for the WWE, who's going to beat him for the Universal, will Bray Wyatt be a champion, is there going to be a Wyatt 5 faction, what's next, what's next, what's next. I don't spend any time thinking about things that are just not going to happen. There's no point. Like, I have to spend my time thinking about where we're going and what reports are suggesting and things along those lines. So, yeah, it's always that for me. So, yeah, I can't give you a good answer on that one, unfortunately. I'll say Halloween Havoc host will be Boogeyman. Okay, who do you think is going to be the Halloween Havoc host? Who do you think it's going to be? Who is going to be the Halloween Havoc host? The Keita Lions, said Harry. Very good. I think it's going to be a name, and I think Boogeyman's a good shout. Who am I going to go for? Does need to be someone that's got a bit of a spooky vibe to them. A bit of a legend. Don't think it'll just be someone from NXT. We did have Shotzi before, but I think they'll want to go a bit bigger. Boogeyman's a really good shout. Papa Shango would be you could go. I don't know if he'd ever do it now though, Godfather, if he brought back Papa Shango. Mick Foley might be a bit big. Might have aimed a bit too high on that. I like the Boogeyman one. Dave Meltzer. Bray Wyatt. It'll be Shotzi again. Imagine if it was Undertaker. Shane McMahon. Vince McMahon. Undertaker. Bray Wyatt. Hornswoggle. Tyler Breeze. Ring of Honor final battle announced. Undertaker. Don't know if you ever had lucid dream before. I have lucid dreams, which means I control my dreams. No. I've had dreams where I've thought to myself, hang on, is this a dream? And then as soon as I've realised it's a dream, I've woken up. That's the closest I've ever come to actually being in my dreams and being able to, like, control them. Never been able to... I've never, to my knowledge, I've never dreamt of something, known I was dreaming, and then been able to control it all. I can't do that. Rose Mendez said in 2010 she was trying to join La Cool on TV, and all she did was do exercises. She thought it was wasted time. WWE told her, at least you're on TV. I think that applies today. What? Just like go out there, do some, at least you're on TV. I think it applied under Vince. I don't know that argument works so much with Triple H, who I think is a little bit more of one of the boys, even now that he's not one of the boys. He's been one of the boys. I think he understands better. And I think he probably understands that just being on TV doesn't really cut it. But it's going to be Chucky. It's going to be the Yeti. Julius Creed against Damon Kemp in a ambulance match. I mentioned to the person in my dream in front of me that I was dreaming and they started melting. Oh. They're talking. Okay, we've got a little interview. Julius Creed and Damon Kemp. Pressure is a privilege, said Julius Creed. Pressure is a privilege. I'm going to use my nerves for good. Like Superman. Julius and Damon. Eric said Kevin Sullivan as co-host. Oh, that would be interesting. That's a good shout. I think he lives in Florida, I'm sure. Yeah, that's a good shout. Eric, shout out to you. Julius Creed, Damon Kemp in an ambulance match. You're a loser who is jealous of me, said Damon Kemp. You've been here for 5 months and you've got nothing to show for it. You're a clout chaser, but you're not willing to do the work. On Saturday, this is not an amateur wrestling match. This is an ambulance match. Maybe I'll hit you in the back 10 times just like I did your brother. I'm more vicious and I'm more violent than you, says Julius. It's going to be a good match. I'm looking forward to these two going at it. Damon Kemp looks great. I can see him doing some... He's kind of a bit like a Kevin Owens vibe. He's been like quite vicious. He's even got like the scruffy facial hair. And I should know. Halloween Havoc host will be the most prolific champion of all time. Vacant, said Bearded Bronco. I think Jason and Freddie are booked that day. Michael Myers available. What about Casper? Casper would be sick. This is going to be the eradication of a cancer that has plagued me for the past 5 months. Who do you think will be Roman's opponent at Mania? I think it'll be The Rock. I'm still sticking with The Rock. Okay, so done with that little interview. Building up Halloween Havoc. They have still got to try and find a way of doing that. Host of Halloween Havoc. Here we go. Alicia Tate. Host of Halloween Havoc. Shotzi again. Shotzi. Shotzi is the host. I thought they'd go for someone different, actually. But, I mean, it's pretty fun still. Shotzi making her way down. So Shotzi will host Halloween Havoc. She came down in the tank. Surprise! Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome home. If there's one WWE superstar who screams Halloween, it's me. Shotzi, 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 Shotzi. She says, I hosted Halloween Havoc back in 2020. But we've got to go even more balls to the wall this year. Oh, okay. She said, I get the final piece of my costume this Friday. But she was referring to the tag titles. But do you think Randy will come? And if he does, do you think there'll be another championship? I think Randy will come back, yeah. Do I think he'll get another championship? I suppose you can't rule it out. Here's Zion Quinn. Zion Quinn has made his way out. If you want Saturday night to be box office, who's he? He's in his ring gear, so he's going to be facing someone. I don't understand what he's asking. Is he saying, like, do you want to co-host? Ah, the Super Diva. Quincy Elliott making his way out to the ring. He's got glasses that have got, like, words going across. I'm Quincy Elliott. I'm a big fan of yours. Is Shotzi coming back to host Halloween Havoc? Not a backward step. I don't think so, no. They're just bringing some main roster stars down to give it all a boost. You need to ride down to the ring with the Super Diva. How about she doesn't need anyone? How about that? How about she doesn't need anyone? And she can do it on her own. Shotzi says, let's up the stakes. Whoever wins can be my co-host. So, Zion Quinn against Quincy. Winner can be co-host of Halloween Havoc. Right. Brenton says, I got it. Boogeyman will have a co-host. Gillian Hall's face mole. Did you see Liv Morgan will be on an upcoming episode of Chucky? She said it's been her dream to get killed by Chucky in a horror film. Thoughts? My thoughts are it's good to have a dream. Good to have a dream. And if her dreams are coming true, that is good news. Undercover Manager said, this dude looks like Goldust and Mabel's love child. The glasses have words. Sounds like observation that a stoned character played by Dennis Hopper would make, says John. Do you want to see Logan Paul in WWE? I don't mind seeing him in WWE. Not crazy about seeing him having matches, but his match with The Miz was very, very good. So, that's my thoughts. James and Sam, a package deal. What is a Quincy, says Bob. What is great question. What is a Quincy? A lot of fun. That's what a Quincy is. A lot of fun. I enjoy Quincy Elliott. We haven't seen much of him. I don't think he's fantastic in ring by any means. But I like a bit of personality, and he definitely brings that. Definitely brings some personality. Harry said, what's going on in AEW? Commercial break. That's what's happening. We've not gone to the main championship match yet. I would imagine that's not too far away. Good to have a dream. Depends on what that dream is, says John. Suppose. It's good to have a dream, though. If you haven't got a dream, what have you got? Nothing. We take Jake Paul with his brother in a tag team, says Torn. It's not Wednesday. Why are people asking about AEW? It is on tonight. Michael said, I feel bad for Quincy because some fans don't like him. They didn't like Sunny Kiss. Even she is a decent wrestler. That's just my thoughts. Coach Co said a filmmaker once created a 10-hour and 7-minute film of paint drying to protest high tariffs. Filmmaker... I'm out. Boring. That's boring. Coach Co, that's boring. Richard said SmackDown winner will host Quincy and Elliot. Shotzi if Shotzi wins the... Some of these comments are so long. What happened to the little quick snappy ones? Blah, 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 blah. Right, we are at commercial break. AEW has returned. We've got Jade Cargill and we've got, is it Kira Hogan? I can't remember her name. The Baddies. We've got the Baddies. Jade Cargill lost her title, didn't she? I don't think she actually lost it. I think she physically lost it. It got title napped. So I think, is it Willow that's running around with it at the moment? Bring me my belt. Or I will hijack your show. Is she threatening Tony Khan? Main event time over on AEW. So main event coming up. AEW Championship match. Jon Moxley against Hangman Page for the AEW World Championship. Over on NXT, we've got Quincy. I didn't change it on screen, did I? Quincy versus Zion Quinn. Coach Co said Mr. and Mrs. came from the words master and mistress. Now we're back cooking again. I like your Titanic one from earlier. I thought that was good. I don't think anything is going to beat the one that you came up with the other week though about the your mum joke. That was very impressive, Coach Co. The player co-host Ghostface and Sydney from Scream. Hangman Page. Is this going to be a long main event, says Joe? I don't think so. I think, well, it depends what you class as long. I mean, Hangman's down. I think by the time we get going, I don't know if we'll go to a commercial break soon, but I don't think it'll be I don't think we've got any overruns planned or anything, so I'm expecting it to be 20-odd minutes. I suppose main event. Some shows can have main events that are only about 10, though, so I suppose it's a longer main event than you sometimes get. Kira will interfere against Mox and Hangman to join the Jericho Appreciation Society tonight. Brad said, I want Finn Balor to be WWE champion one time before he retires, but I doubt he will. Triple H decides to give him one. The Bray merch is now on Euroshop. Very nice. That's good. Big kick by Zion Quinn. Quincy going down. I actually don't know. Is it Cora, Jade, and Raquel Rodriguez that are main eventing tonight? We've got Zion Quinn on the outside. Here is Walker. Walker's out there. Quinn getting in. Big splash by Quincy. Quincy comes crashing down on Zion Quinn. Quincy going over to the corner. They've already started, with Hangman and Moxley. I wasn't expecting that. Bonsai drop by Quincy. 2, 3. Quincy Elliott wins. It is a victory for the Super Diva. Quincy Elliott getting the job done and a little dance in there as well. Some great shows of strength by Zion Quinn. But just not able to get the job done. They see what times out, no problem timing people out. Cowboys can fly. Flying cowboy. He's a fly boy. Titanic would have been better as a short film where they just showed the ship sinking without the long boring Celine song. Hank Walker is on the outside watching. Quincy in ring with Shotzi. Right, Chase University. Here we go. Oh, she down. I let Robert Stone distract me. I know I can beat her. Come on, let's go. She was proper fired up. Wow, look at this. They're showing iconic moments from the history of Halloween Havoc. Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero. The Yeti. There was also a Chamber of Horrors match, but we're going to skip over that as well. Chuck is back. Now that is a teachable moment. Quincy Elliott's outfit kind of looks like Mabel Viscera, don't you think? Yes, I do, yeah. Right. Here's Raquel Rodriguez, then main event of NXT. Main event of NXT. Just saying that back is back in NXT. Showing it off. Look at that. Beautiful stuff. If they really want HH Halloween Havoc to be scary, instead of people walking through doors, they could have Shotzi walk through some gates. The gates of agony. Dark Angel said teachable moment. It is an exclamation of excitement or approval. Yeet is an exclamation of excitement or approval. Yeet is very popular, isn't it? I need to get a picture of Raquel's back. That can go in the review. There we go. Pick your poison match. Raquel versus Cora Jade. Our main event of the evening. Don't forget, guys. Overrun. Don't forget. You come on, guys. You forget every week. Normally there's an overrun with NXT. I wonder if AEW will match the overrun, actually. I don't know. I wonder if they will. I haven't heard anything. Who do you think will defeat the Usos, says Brad. Who do I think will beat the Usos? Hard. I think there's a few options. I mean, you know, there's a lot of tag teams that have come in. You could have a look at Gallows and Anderson. You could have a look at Street Profits. You could have a look at Viking Raiders. Or I don't think New Day, but you can't ever really rule them out, can you? Who knows? Perhaps they want to pull the trigger with Hit Row. Perhaps it's going to be the Wyatts, whoever they turn out to be. So, you know, I feel like they've definitely done some investing in the tag division. So we'll have to wait and see. Moxley is bleeding already. He is. Figure 4 applied. 20 minutes left in this match. It's they went straight into the crowd. Hot start. I feel like NXT was the better show at the start. It was definitely grabbing my attention more. And then it feels like there was a shift about the halfway point. And I think it's going to be hard for Raquel and Cora to match Moxley and Hangman for the AEW World Championship, you know? So I kind of feel like both shows have had their moments tonight. Who do you think will cause the breakup of the bloodline? I think that it will have trouble up until WrestleMania. And then I think, to be honest, Roman will probably work a reduced schedule. So I think he'll work a reduced schedule then. And I think it just means it's going to be difficult for the bloodline to kind of stay together in his absence. So I think they'll probably just go on to other things. I don't know if there'll be this big breakup, this big explosion. Moxley bleeds with a gust of wind to the face. What did you think of MJF's segment? I thought it was very good. Come on, John Moxley said, Legend Killer. Zoom Station said, will MJF cash in? It's not a cash-in chip, is it? I don't believe it's cash-in chip. I believe you cash it in, and that is like you announce when your match is. I don't think you can just come running down and hand it in, can you? Maybe you can. I honestly don't know. Right. We've got another sign-in. This is going to be pretty deadly. We've got Malik and Blades. Next week, we shock the world. Next week, you're looking at the new NXT Tag Champs. So, Pretty Deadly defending against Blades and Anofe. Title Tuesday next week. Cora Jade making her way down. New York Yankees versus Houston Astros baseball playoffs. Game one is tomorrow night, and AEW would start at 8 p.m., but got moved to tonight. I think he can run down and cash it in. I think they clarified that he could, says Michael. Cora Jade, yeah. Cora Jade making her way out. Right. Raquel in the ring. I would have done... it's tricky, isn't it? I was going to say, I would have done this the other way round. I feel like Rhea Ripley being on the show, back on the show after being away for so long, is bigger than Raquel being on the show, because she was in NXT not that long ago. We saw Raquel in NXT 2.0. We haven't seen Rhea Ripley in NXT 2.0. And I know this isn't 2.0, but it's the same setup. So this doesn't feel quite as big as the match we had at the start. But having Judgment Day walk out at the start was very, very cool. It definitely fired up the crowds. We've got Cora Jade in the corner, telling Raquel to get back. Jumps back down, and we're about to get underway with this. Hangman and Moxley on the outside of the ring. Disney song, not sure, lyric go. Kind of like Money in the Bank briefcase. Cash in anytime. Noah said, I hope Bryan Danielson mops the floor with Sammy Guevara. Right, Cora Jade is over in the corner, chest first. She goes down. Raquel grabbing the head of Cora. Picks up Cora, looking to plant her down. Down goes Cora. She rolls out the ring. Going to the outside goes Raquel. She's got Cora. Big chop coming in. They want one more. Is she going to do it? Cora Jade jumps into the ring. Raquel's not going to allow it. The crowd want one more chop, so she's going to give it to them. She goes for it as Cora moves out the way. Cora gets back into the ring. Kick to the arm of Raquel. Kicks coming into the sides. Big shots raining down by Cora. Cora backs away, charges over. Goes off the ropes, stomps down onto Raquel. Raquel over in the corner. Cora Jade has got momentum. Clothesline, big clothesline. Cora Jade goes down. Raquel goes over and stands on the midsection of Cora Jade. If they were counter-programming AEW, I don't doubt that. Why have this as the main event opposite Moxley versus Page? It's difficult, isn't it? What else would you put here? I mean, I think like the Rhea. I mean, what you could have done would be, to be truthful, you could have had the. It's a DQ. This is interesting. I was going to say you could have had the host reveal, but I think Shotzi would have been a little underwhelming. No disrespect. Cora Jade has won thanks to DQ. Maybe they haven't booked this as the main event. Could this lead to a tag match? Player. Perez has come down. Right now it's Perez. Perhaps this isn't. I don't know what's going on. It's a win for Cora Jade thanks to disqualification. Roxanne Perez came down and attacked. I mean, we've still potentially got, what, 15 minutes or so left here? Right, the kickoff show. So Cora wins by DQ. Roxanne comes down. NXT Women's Championship match. Do you know what they're doing with Elektra Lopez? No. Elektra Lopez was apparently under the belief she was going to be called up with Legado, and something changed. So, no. I don't even know if they know what they're doing with her. Right, they're just running down through the cards. The brawl during KO show. Ah, yeah, Kevin, I forgot about that. So, Braun and Ilya and Kevin Owens, that's going to be the main event. If WWE was trying to beat AEW, wouldn't they be like, Roman, we need you to appear? Well, Roman works a reduced schedule, doesn't he? So I don't know that they could get Roman. I mean, I don't know. I think they want to beat them, but I don't know how possible that's going to be. I mean, to be honest, AEW does have more like viewers. But this is not the night they're normally on, so it's going to be real interesting to see which one was viewed more. Here we go, Kevin Owens. Damn. It's got a big, it feels like a big star, doesn't he? Former NXT champion. Oh, that's big, isn't it? Kevin Owens is here then to close out the show. Goes over to Booker. Tony Khan said, cash in the chip can happen at any sanctioned AEW event, says Leo. Perhaps he will do it then. Perhaps he'll come running down with it. I haven't seen that be how they've used it before. So I don't know if something has changed. Regal knocks out Moxley and MJF wins, says Carlos. Well, it looks like he's won, and he's won like, what, 9 minutes early? Moxley's got the belt over his shoulder. The theme song for Halloween Havoc, that is good, said Tanner. Be funny if Kevin Owens jumps TV screens and kicks Moxley in the nuts. A seaman once set a ship on fire to get out of work early. Probably worked. What's happening in the Mox Hangman match? Well, I believe that Moxley's victorious. He's got the championship over his shoulder. They haven't gone to the ring. They're talking about Hangman getting the medical attention, like best medical attention that he needs. So I think they're kind of... I don't think it's finished early. I think that they're trying to tell a story that that match has finished and Hangman's like been injured in the match. I am wondering if that's to buy them some time for MJF to come down. They've still got 7 minutes. He landed on his neck and shoulder, said Red Payne. Corvid said it wasn't planned. Oh. I didn't see the exact moment, but that's really unfortunate if it's... Taz is saying, like, continue. We've got a situation in the ring, like... I'm waiting to see as to where we go, what happens. The fans are cheering for Hangman. Right now, we're going to go down to the AEW World Champion. Taz was selling it like it was legit. As someone that's had this happen, I just hope he's okay, said Taz. I hope and pray Hangman recovers. Can walk again, can talk again, can play with his kids again. This is a dangerous game. Must admit, I didn't see it. And I thought that it was something that they were doing to just end that match and then go on to like MJF coming down. What's the F his name? Wow, Moxley going off-road here. We've still got some TV time. Moxley's called out MJF. MJF's coming out. Is this just like emergency get MJF out there type deal? He's got the chip. He's got the referee. He's brought the referee down. He's got the chip in his hands. Okay, we've got Ilya, we've got Kevin Owens, we've got Jade in the ring. I'm so confused as to what's happening. Is NXT ended? No, it was at commercial break, bud. Bron Breakker is in the ring now with Kevin Owens. There's going to be a Kevin Owens show for about 5-8 minutes or so. MJF is rolling back out of the ring. Give me a mic. Was that Red Riding Hood in NXT Backstage walking? I was watching AEW, unfortunately. There seemed to be a situation with Hangman. MJF said that he wants Ambrose Moxley at 110%. Hangman couldn't move, said Corvids. It was an audible. They probably weren't going to bring MJF in until last minute. Corvid said MJF is trying to save the night after that. Okay, well, to be honest, just real concern for Hangman then. Real concern for Hangman. I've got an image of a stretcher that's been brought down to the ring. That's an image that someone's taken in the crowd. You can see Hangman down, and they've brought a stretcher down, and these are all the people that are like working on, the situation. I don't know how bad this is, or as I said, my gut feeling when I was watching it was that MJF's about to cash in, or MJF's about to whatever. I didn't know that he could do that, but as soon as you lot said that was an option, then all of a sudden it's like, okay, perhaps tonight's the night. But no, everyone's telling me that was legit injury. Hangman took a hard clothesline from Moxley and didn't get up. They had to loosen the bottom rope to get him out of the ring because he couldn't move. Tempest said, I noticed the bottom rope was loosened. Clearly, they had to get Hangman out on a stretcher. And Broken said, didn't move from what? Apparently a clothesline. Can't see the image or the moment doing the rounds. I was looking to see if I could see it. There is no MJF match. So right now we've just got a promos in NXT. Ilya said, I was going for you the other week, but hitting Braun was not a mistake. It's got, I've managed to rewind it. I've just got it on at the moment. I'm just going to see if I can find that moment. Ilya saying to Braun, you're just a human. It was a massive clothesline. He ragdolled, Hangman said Joel. It was a very stiff clothesline. How unfortunate that it happened in the main event. Fired up Ilya. Has to random start to promote it. MJF is all AEW, and that's what people like, said Carlos. Big clothesline by Hangman I just saw here. Oh, damn. In all fairness to Moxley, it's a bit of a receipt. In fairness to Moxley, there is a big, big clothesline by Hangman. There's no X symbol that's given by the referee by the looks of it. Not that they always have to do that. I mean, there's people that are at ringside anyway, and they're always in talks. Yeah, it was heavy. It was heavy. But moments just before, Moxley does want to Hangman does one to Moxley that's heavy, and so Moxley is responding, basically. The AEW roster keeps getting smaller. Tony will have 8 surprise wrestlers turn up. I spoke to JD Madoni's mom earlier. She doesn't want him to be champion either. I can't believe that. Roxanne will beat Cora on Saturday. It's kind of sucked the energy out of things, hasn't it? I don't know if you feel that way, but like it's a real... Just kind of hope Hangman's all right, to be honest. I really thought that was just part of the show. Really did. That show's ended. MJF came out, and that MJF moment feels very much like a... Not an afterthought, but it doesn't feel like... I don't know quite what was planned. Clearly not that. Now that the show has ended and we've got... we know exactly what's happened. Yeah, I agree. You can clearly see that was not what was planned. Kevin Owens saying to JD McDonough, you are so weird. Did Hangman go into business for himself last week like he did with the promos? Could Moxley have given him a receipt? I don't think so. I don't think it was anything like that. If it was a receipt, I think it was only a receipt for the clothesline that came just before. Because there was a clothesline just before that was quite heavy on Moxley. You're talking a big game, said Ilya. Thought human, but the way doing the fake injuries so often, it does make you wonder. NBA season opener and MLB playoffs are back. How much will that affect? It has affected before. It's impossible. I don't know. I mean, it will affect. It obviously has fans. I don't think it affects as much as the NFL, but I couldn't sit here and say, well, they'll do that and then it'll do that. Kevin Owens says continue. He jumps out of the ring. Braun is in there with Ilya. They start throwing. Security guards jump in. JD Madonna just kind of stands in the background. Big spear there by Braun. Headbutt by Ilya. Headbutt by Ilya, and JD goes down as well. Headbutt again as JD goes down. So Ilya standing tall. And Ilya holding up that championship. Austin Theory is here. Mr. Money in the Bank holds up the Money in the Bank briefcase. Clever. Make people think that Austin Theory might cash in for the NXT belt. So Ilya holds up the championship to end the segment. But Austin Theory walks out with the briefcase to let Ilya know that it might not be that straightforward. Did you see Hangman's bump? Yeah, I did. I went back and watched it. I didn't see it at the time. But yeah, awful. Right, I'm going to go and get set up for the review. Big thank you to everyone that's joined us. Obviously, thoughts with Hangman Page. Really hope that he's going to make... I mean, to be honest, seeing how emotional Taz was really kind of sticks with you. And, I mean, the first words that Moxley says is, I hope that Hangman can walk and talk and play with his kids again. I mean, he said it really cold as well. Like... It was like, I hope he can walk and talk and speak with his kids again. But anyway... MJF, get out here! Like, it was really weird. It's really weird, but yeah, obviously, hopefully everything's all right there. And just kind of a bit of a downer on the end of the night, but hey ho, we'll get the images moved over and get the review done. That's in half an hour on the second channel. So thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.